In this chapter, we are going to talk through defining an outdoor dining space. I'm going to walk you through how to choose the location, work with what you have, and then we're gonna go through some of the choices that I made for this particular dining space. I'm really excited about this project in particular because I get to reimagine this space for my friend Jennifer. So the three things that you need for a great outdoor space are a solid base, so you're not sitting in mud, something to define the space. In this case, we used sort of landscape hedging, and then seating that's appropriate to your area and your aesthetic. I'm gonna give you one of my biggest secrets. I want you guys to feel the freedom and the confidence to create an outdoor room by using plants. I think a lot of people feel like, especially in small outdoor spaces, they want to keep things open, open, open. But I think you can actually make things feel larger when you define it with some softscaping. So the number one thing that you want to think about when you want to create an outdoor dining space is take in the yard as a whole and figure out what space feels more natural to come to. Things like how it relates to your actual home. Most people don't like to walk too far from their kitchen door to their outdoor dining space. You also might want to think about where your outdoor grill is. Think about what you already have, what you want to use your space for, whether it be quiet family dinners or big fun backyard parties, and that's how you can start pulling the space together. Currently, this backyard is a little overgrown, and so it feels really small, but with some meaningful updates, it'll feel open and like a meaningful destination. Remember that whatever you already have in your space will probably look great for your dining area. If you have a really small area, maybe you just have a bistro table with 2 chairs, that's perfect. If you love to entertain a lot and maybe you have a bigger area, get a long rectangular table with big benches where tons of people can sit around it. There's no hard and fast rule, but try to work with what you have rather than feeling like you have to go out and buy all new stuff for your space. You really need to choose some sort of ground cover just to keep the space looking clean and finished. You don't want it to be forgotten. You don't want it to look like you've just dropped your dining table on some patchy grass. So maybe when you're considering what type of ground cover to put down, take in your entire space. Think about the style of your house. Think about the style of your yard. So some options that you can put down are grass if you really want that soft feel. If you want to put down decking or pavers for something that's a little bit more firm, you can do that. For this particular project, we went with gravel just to build on what we already had. The house is painted off black, and the gravel itself is an off black, and so there's something about kind of that monochrome look that just makes it feel a little bit elevated and modernizes the idea. So starting with the gravel, it is the start of the project. It is quite literally the groundwork. Everything will be built on this. I just like to make different piles around the area furthest from where I'm coming in with it, and then I'll go ahead and start spreading it out. I personally like to keep my gravel at only about 1 inch thick, which I know is like not the rule, but I think that people look ridiculous when they're marching through their backyards. When taking into consideration what plants you want to put in, always take into consideration first your hardiness zone. That is just the USDA tells you what plants work where. The house used to be super traditional. Jennifer is now modernizing it. And so what we wanted to do is accent the plant palette that she already has, but also give it a little bit of a lift so it can start matching the house. Because of that, I picked pink muhly grass, which is an ornamental grass, underplanted with Distillium cinnamon girl. Ornamental grasses are awesome choices because they give you a lot of dimension and movement in areas where a lot of times you just have shrubs or bushes or even trees that are static. And then always, always This is my big secret. You always want to underplant it with an evergreen shrub because you don't want to stare at cut down grass during the times of year that it goes dormant. In this particular case, I chose an evergreen plant that requires little to no maintenance. I wanted to keep things easy and flowing for this particular space. Okay, so this is where we're getting into the good stuff. This is the actual planting. This kind of created a natural line for us, so we stopped the gravel here. I'm going to be planting both the pink muley grass and the Distillium cinnamon girl in a straight line. Reasons for doing that is because I really want to make this feel like a very defined room. So this is going to feel like a living wall, but it also has some movement to it. Because of the nature of ornamental grass, it's gonna have some of that like flowy movement. If you decide that you want like a curvy line, or maybe you wanna do like a semicircle, you can get as fun as you want on this. I'm going to be using a tiller in this particular area. You can rent one from most hardware stores. It breaks up the soil really quickly. Then I'll be dumping in some mushroom compost and some cow manure and tilling that in. And that's gonna give us like a really nice home for these new plants. Now you guys know how I keep these in shape. I went ahead and I stopped tilling here, but I'm going to leave a space here. And the reason why is I want to still give access to the rest of the yard. So we've got the pink muley grass in the ground. As this starts to settle and gets watered, it'll have a little bit more upward movement. And then this is our Distillium cinnamon girl. This is the evergreen that's going in front of it, that when the pink muley grass has gone dormant, this will cover it. I think I'm only gonna do 2 of the Distillium here because this does have a 2 to 4 foot spread, and I don't want to block off too much of the space for the pathway that we're going to leave open back here. Also, to quickly talk about finding the face of your plant, I always like to look around at a plant to see which side of it is the nicest when you're going to be looking at it a lot. And now, guys, you have to put a top dressing on top of your plants. You cannot leave them bare. Do you hear me? Mulch is the most popular choice. I would really suggest watering pretty thoroughly for that first season, just so the roots can start getting comfortable and kind of stretching out. And then you want something to hold in that moisture, and that's what mulch does. So that is why we always do it. And no one wants to look at your dirt. Even if it's good dirt, let's not look at your dirt. So now I'm finishing up here. This space already feels much more defined. We're creating this little barrier, and now we get to move on to the super fun stuff. Never underestimate the power of the little personal touches. So it's not just new gravel and new plants that are really gonna draw you into your outdoor space. It's creating a whole mood. So we're gonna create a little centerpiece for the table. This is the area that I just never want people to forget about. You can make this as personal as your indoors. So if you like to have fresh flowers around your indoors, think of that and apply it here. I'm gonna be doing a simple succulent arrangement because I think it's cute. Because there is no covering over us, we are exposed to the elements. Be sure that the pots that you choose always have a drainage hole. This is commonly known as weed barrier. When you have a drainage hole and you put this down, it allows the water to run out, but the soil to stay in. And there. These are just simple echeverias. If you just go ahead and make a simple cut, just like that, it will regrow. And I'm gonna go ahead and reuse as much of this great cactus mix soil as I can. I think this works really well with the white terrazzo kind of being a little bit of a juxtaposition to the dark house. Oh, perfect. Look at that cutie. It's just really easy. Whatever you love, bring it into your space. I think the last thing we're gonna do is lighting. You can use tiki torches, you can string lanterns from tree branches. In this particular environment, we're gonna go ahead and string bistro lighting from the house over to the trees. I just think that kind of creating a little bit of a canopy over us, even if it's with light, is gonna, again, kind of reinforce the fact that this is its own room. And there you have it. So we've taken our first step towards really elevating this space. I'm super excited. I love how the plants are gonna grow in and really kind of create this partition that makes that outdoor dining room its own space. I love how the gravel lightened things up. I love the touches with the lights and the little succulent centerpiece. I just think that this is really going to become the most special place. And remember, this only took a few steps and we've completely transformed the space. So don't feel like you have to do huge things just to elevate your space. The tiny things can make a huge impact. See you next time.